employee, and most importantly, thank you all for coming in here. I know it's the end of the day, I'm sure a bit tired, and heaps and it's just like a honey one sure. So the fact that you're here already puts you to right for the mindset and the ones who work in order to optimize and improve business for the right. So for me, I heard across 13 different industries that I've supported over countries in the 2000 years through massive change and think from large scale digital transformation efforts to the culture change efforts. And some of the areas that are specializing are also in hospital and healthcare settings. I'm ex-military, and I'm a static supplement. I'm not that coming. What I realised also is after Twitch, a commercial one said, and coming from an organisation with a beltline and chart kind of background, and then going into an operations area, and in at the area or again the sort of 300 for 4 different divisions. What I found was it didn't matter how amazing the people were or how high the Filipino were, they were only ever advanced to all the performance the student knew was and claims of community. So today, has anybody actually read the book from the to right, Goats in the Bombers? Has anyone read his schedule, How the Line for and Dad? And the reason why it's an exceptional book is possibly a year radically sisters place. Oh, yeah. Oh, and there it be by was amazing and that's awesome. I can tell you that the pick of it up, the more destruction in our team to go. And there's a lesson in that as was turns we using servers. I think it's so like credits and up for the salt liquors. Yep. There's a lesson in that for all of us because if we can deal the white bike sisters and support us to a phone, when a bit is together with the scat and ourselves, like you choose, and we're also in a very sad the position to be able to adapt to change. Most of the organizations out with of buying technology right now aren't actually ready to implement them. That's why certain well, I'm going to go through that in here. But this is how the money joins for. So it's not about all the people, but there was 3 taken ways. I'm really pleased that we started being able today because it starts the leadership in a big group. Well, the reason why there are so many underwhelming transformations that's out there is a study by Bain Code Dunham's a 10-year longitudinal study where they looked at transformation efforts in larger companies. So these are companies that have big budgets. They often have dedicated research and development teams. They often have dedicated teams that are about improving the way that they do business. But despite that, only 12% met correct similar expectations. The disturbing thing about this is that they didn't get any better over 10 years. So getting low and let alone from their fighters, but just downplay their expectations and hang dwarf the mediocre cup. Don't mediocre cup might be average, ringing be awesome. That's kind of one natural. And when it's your own business and you've got your own skin in the game, don't settle for second because you and your families deserve more. So let's learn from why 88% of root intentions failed. And the first one is this. Leadership is not position. Just because you're a CEO, you're a team leader, you're a supervisor, does not make you a leader. And you can't do it alone. So leadership at every level means that every single person from the users but has to have a level of ownership, accountability, responsibility, and it states that what they do matters. So if they can see that things could be better, they've got permission to be able to talk and create message forever. That's the first one. The second one is that decisions are made in accurate operation and insights. So the bigger your company, the more complex you become, the less visibility you have actually what's happening on for end. Well, often you'll hear that people aren't in the same page or they're disconnected. You'll have a really great strategy or a really great plan, but then when we actually ask the operation teams what they're doing, it's a little bit different. And we're going to talk about today in this book, they're really very much a workshop on this in this session today because I want to show you how we can this and dive in this yourself so you can get on top of it fast and not be surprised. The third one is that service delivery isn't engineered or built for Ford. So I said to you, I started in the people development space and it was not enough. It was never enough because the business engineering element is more juicy. So what I mean by that is that the operation elements, so the processes, the policies, the technology, the governance, who makes decisions, the blame and the tools to be able to deliver with excellence, often work within the government. So if you pick a process in the tech aren't working family, you're going to struggle. And that's where a lot of businesses, through great businesses, are talented people, great friction, they get frustrated, your high performers leave, and worse, you are inheriting coffins. You are making massive earlier, but the profit huntings of line. It's because of that lack of integration engineering. So we will talk today about what looks like the good and how you can maintain my own chart. This here, it's got a lot of words on it. I don't want to read that in. But the purpose of showing this is I mentioned just during refill. Quite often, many organizations aren't ready for some of the large scale changes that are occurring in real life. Classic case in point, I worked for 11 months with a large insurance company and walked away from Melanie Marshall with gas and mushroom because of experience. And the problem is that despite their 25 plus years and their amazing success of people that are all over the ads, they were probably down in that initial or that disjointed power space. Their people, the process, and their tech were very dysfunctional. They weren't integrated, and their turnover rate of staff was 50% within the first 12 months in every home now. Who here knows how much energy and money it takes to hire somebody? Yeah, imagine over 50% of the people that you hire disappearing within 12 months. And then you have to do that again at scale. This is a company that had 7,000 people in it. And what's worse is if they accepted that level of mediocrity because, well, that's to our culture and our culture suffer originally. So why I mention the whole wood to great, that actually how the mighty fall. The mighty fall of hubris. They get complacent. They don't do the regular lanes and the servicing. If their organisation was a beautiful car, they barely pop the hood and check the engine and check the oil and pump the tyres. That's men at next. So this maturity scale, not only is it looking at the function of a resistor and how well it performs, but it also directly impacts how people feel. And that's the key of. It's not so much about it if you can build it, that's important, but the system that you are giving them to perform matters most, or you're most there. So I have got a whole methodology around this. It is to avoid and prevent the large-scale transformations that I've seen. One of the worst I've seen was going ERP. I was the customer experience architect in that, and it was a $350 million failure. Not because there weren't some great people, but because they failed to do the business engineering piece, and they were focusing on the corrupt shiny technology that they were not mature or in full. That expense for us as taxpayers is starting to be even worse over time, because if you think in terms to every year that's dysfunctional, we're all paying for it. So this here was kind of developed as a result of learning from that type of global research and learnings from multiple organizations, and I'm looking to do a meta. So again, the book, Adaptive Excellence, I've laid out this methodology, all the different tools and things that you could do to be able to apply this thinking right from the good goes. So it doesn't matter whether you're individual, a small business, or a large scale, or a large scale organization, those are principles that work. They're proven to work. And if you apply only just a third of what I'm about to show you tonight, you will be 33% at least more productive. I will show you how. Now, sign don't come across as completely delusional. It's been probably sitting to lovely and done here tonight. We've been doing the floor. I get it. I'll whether where you're at first. So on your worksheets, you've got a scale of Where are that mostly? So I just refocus purely on the state to calm. Ignore the focus, ignore the productivity. Be very real about this. I don't want you to look down for what you hope to be or what you want to be. I want you to be very, very real about what you mostly feeling well as the lead and business owner, the person making the decisions, as well as be really being impacted by them in your business. So I want you to put a little dot as to which state you're in. So if you feel mostly powerless, where everything is out of your control and you're just kind of hanging on for the line, do you feel reactive where you freedom up to think big picture, but in reality is you're just struggling to get your head above the water until either you're more of an order taker as opposed to somebody just considered and confident around things? Protective? Are you in a bot? But are you afraid to sort of get any bigger because if bot now is kind of reasonably comfortable and you're going to want to stay there? That protective can also be holding me from Australia. Clearly, I have no with you vision, you've got clean plans, but we just can't seem to get things in the space you're in free. And then we've got the trust and the spine and the W. So now, just kind of dot where are you mostly now within your business, or if you don't own a business, within the company we work for. Next, what I want you to do is identify where the team are larger. So if you have a team could be a team of one. It can be a team of two people. Where do you think they mostly are in the state process at the moment? You're very, very honest. And if you don't know, well, then this is an opportunity to have a conversation tomorrow. Now, we've had some supervisors, some managers, some team leads. I also want you to talk with leads and pollen when things they are. The reason why I ask you to do this is because very, very frequent I'm seeing or with the CEOs or executive teams that will talk that they are very adaptive, they're focused on excellence, continuous improvement, and they're ready to adopt to new things, and anything is going to be awesome. So they can rate themselves very highly on the top. And they'll say, where are your teams? And they were, we're not on the same page. Our teams are crumbling more between that reactive sort of protective space. They're sort of pushing the back on the few things that we're trying to do. And there's a reason for that, it's because they're not quite doing it. If I was to come in and say, all right, everybody, it's time to scale your businesses. We're going to optimize everything. If I don't understand where you started from, I could potentially be focusing on the wrong things too soon and too average too fast. So the way that a lot of works is, and if you want to app yourself, that's good because we're all in friendly company here. How many, and without a show of hands of who might be in the reactive space tonight? Anyone? Yeah, good. Power to you. Is there anybody in the powerless space? Nice. Sometimes, as I said, I definitely a little different, so I'm very glad and I'm used to being different. That's a very big concern if it'll be your business. So there's a few of the reactive space. I'll work with that first. So if I was coming into a business or a company where there's anybody that's reactive, whether it be teams or you as the leads or the owners, the first thing that we would need to do would be to get you to focus on what can we push off. Once you feel a level of control, you will over them to be able to then delegate a few things. You want them protective and want to be constrained in order to delegate cars. But we can't go and delegate if you don't dream no plan if you try with. The productivity side, it's got nothing to do with your desire or your skills. It is more about the system of Australian you down. So if you are in a state of being reactive right now, at best, you're going to feel maybe about 30% productive. Because 70% of the time, you'll be tuning UX. It's not because you want to be there, and it's not because you're not talented enough to lift. It's just the reality of when the system's at and the linking business. So it's about applying some extreme empathy with some reality, and if it's focus on the control before you focus on the next level. If I've got anybody here using a protective space, it's like, yeah, I've worked really hard to build what I've got. I've got some new team members coming with them. Keeping them all stuff. They're not stuffing up this. because then if it breaks, it's on me. Yeah, and the problem with that is it will impacting your productivity of that full stress line. So if you have any hope of holding on to really good people that you've just recruited, good team members, well, you do have a vision to be able to run the scouting. So you don't have to learn or clientele gallery or so the fun is here based on safe fatal stuff. What people say to give some reap to start building some trust that they can actually do it to learn what you need to feel it, then is fit for purpose, and they potentially delegate more to a lens tolerance. So it's not everything, but happily feature to the career will feature to delegate to increase our productivity to get out the mass. What about trusted? Who do not feel they're in the trusted and they're looking for opportunities space? Brave. So this one you're pretty comfortable. Thanks for working at a space. You're operating at a 50 to 70% productivity scale, and it's time to kind of test the waters and see how you can do even better. That's a totally natural, comfortable place to be. Chances are the systems that you've got begins with are working with reason like these. There's a reasonable level of harmony, and you feel like now it's worth ingestibles and hormone further. Inspire who's got humming along business and inspire the nickel partnership break. Congratulations. Yeah, some people up and down. Totally. This can be a sliding scale. Pete Swider said that the word mostly. Where are you mostly at? Because you can have a day where you're like, oh, yes, I've inspired. I will say it, and then say it. Could then you slowly action. This is blame them. So mostly is the key. Don't plan for the good day. Don't plan for the bad day. Like it's on the notion. So yeah, inspire. Look at partnerships with other people. Already tonight, I know then Baker. I said I'd give you a call. That little baby company. She does amazingness and care for us, and I'm not getting paid to say this. She noticed that because I did a little YouTube video for her. Just because I love supporting my boys. I feel like no matter how freaking hard it is to start up and sell something, but it's quality product. Case in point tonight, Baker's first time here, and already within the first 10 minutes, she went to other people because she could potentially partly do some things together. Time for us all night regards. So then to brave that we could be inspired and looking at that sort of partnerships. Third key is they're totally adaptive, right? And they are focused on continuous excellence or continuous improvement. Is there anybody who has that golden space right now? Nowhere, no wonder you're great. Well, that's what we want, right? You don't have to be 100% conforming. That's not what it's about. It's about feeling like you're 100% for life. The magic sweet spot is to be 71, 70 to 90 kind of area. Know where you're at first before you start to implement new things. And if you're not there yet, focus on the thing where you need most before we can initiate or include other challenges. 3 key areas make up are really going well on the machine and culture and business in general. The first one is leadership at all levels. With reference just to my a bit from Peg and Mallard for good reason. It starts with NWO. Leadership at every department. So it's not just the upstanding leader who's in the position, with upstanding people everywhere across all towns at all levels. The second one is decisions. So do people have access to information timely, as supports confident and effective decisions? And the third one is delivery. So do people, process and tech are then integrated into their support service and delivery flow? Or is it a little bit clunky? There's a little bit of rework. People, somebody's still learning off your Excel spreadsheet when really they should be looking at here more like a dashboard. And tracking will KPIs are there as well. So you've got on your thing now, it's time to evaluate varying efforts for your own setup. Out of 10, how would you rate leadership at every level? If you're a solo pro or had a solo, sorry about that. But yeah, leadership level, out of 10, just give it a clap. Quick thinking, the first answer is the best one. Decisions, out of 10. What's the rating for decisions? And delivering, how easy is that? Or how similarly is service delivering for in the business? Let's be a bit clunky. You know, you got great people, but the tips not working. There's half a dozen different policies that people should be applying it, so they're not. And it feels like they just can't quite get the group run through. Has everybody voted for all three of our mentions? Show of hands for anybody who's above 6 for leadership at all levels. Yep, couple, good. Anybody who's above 6 for decisions. And anybody who's above 6 to the degree. Yeah. So there's always room for improvement, right? Because anybody you didn't have their head up and anyone not pointing to mind, does it all achievable. It's not about doing it all on one side. All right, it's not about tackling this again. Right, I'm going to tackle leadership, decisions, delivering. We can smash this, and it's going to be amazing. No, remember, start with where you're at. Here it didn't work up. So you pick one theme. As we're short on time, what I'm showing you today is a process that we can do at least each quarter or even every six months, once a year. I reckon it's a bit risky, but at least every quarter. This is a process that would be very useful for you to look at. So you're going to skip the business foundation bit, and you're just going to go down to the streaming ends first. Pick one area of focus. Be very clear around what that grading was. And I want you to write down what the consequence is if that number doesn't shift within the next 3 months. Beginning of the quarter, right? Let's start strong. Let's be very clear that if we're going to change anything in our business, it's going to be work for outcome. Write down the impact or the consequence that number does not change for you. Just in one area. You can show pens, let's see how they all. So fast. Now when you write down what is the one most powerful change that you can do to elevate that number by at least 2 points. So if you rated yourself at about a 3 or a 4, what change would be really valuable to make better fire process? If you were 5 or 6, what would be one challenge in that area that would take you to say a 7 to an 8 or maybe number 1? Has to be able to be implemented within this quarter. Show hands when you've got that. Now it's about looking at what is the benefit for that change. What is the benefit you're going to get out of this? And I want you to think about it all sudden from the proactivity point of view. So there's a whole stack of measures that it is to measure the effectiveness of this change. And when we go back to this one, we look at productivity. If you implement that change, what would be the percentage increase in productivity if you implement that change with 1 plus 3 months? Would it be a 10% productivity gain or a 20, 30% productivity gain? If it's less than 15% productivity, don't waste your time. Pick something that's worth 20 and 70 productivity because you're not going to want to partner them. Has everyone identified and changed? Hands up, actually. If you've identified a change that increases your productivity or your team's productivity by at least 20%. Next to that productivity figure, I want you to write how many people are impacted by that. How many people are involved in that process or involved in that change? Because it's not just about your productivity, it's about their productivity as well. Horns okay? And then I want you to think about how much you paying on this fuel, whether it's just you. If it is you, how much would it cost for you to pay a replacement of you if you would pay me someone and all this? How much were a 20% improvement of value to you? So, for example, and I'll give you some of time when about other clients. If they if you've got safe ease of mathematics, if you've got one person who's impacted by the change, you're going to earn a 20% gain in productivity, and you pay for $100,000 a year. Implementing that change gives you a $20,000 cost savings. Amplify that cost saving by however getting other people are also deployed that do that same that be impacted by it and change, and then there's the other ratios again of the value of what that change is to design into. This is what the ROI for change is. It's not by fluffy fizzles. It's not, hey, we get our money back or we get more some method as promised. It's how much more productive can our people make and how much are we paying our people to be productive for us in your business. And if we can increase the productivity by 20%, would you reinvest that or productivity back into the business with higher value of teams? So I want you to do the math, and just for that productivity piece alone, put in the dollar figure of the value of that change as a pin for activity one. There's some of the things that you might have to consider in that change, because I measure answer them. So if leadership decisions in delivery was Buell sports car, and you went to get in drive, and then maybe we should win. You pop the cookie there. Hang on a sec, there's a hose here and busted. There's the spark plugs are for this thing. There's a brust with there, not over here and that other. Do I know what that is and why is that there? There's some stuff on the board every single business that needs to make sure that it's regularly serviced, maintained, and improved gradually over time so that it works to my home. These are the 6 foundations of your business culture and the 6 foundations of customers. Any one of these that are a little bit off kilter are going to cost you. They might not cost you now, maybe they may cost you later on as you start to change and implement other things. Particularly if you're looking at introducing AI or any kind of technology into your business. Without looking at what the technology is going to run, which is this. You're either going to speed more shit up, or you're going to slow more shit down, or you're going to make more shit. And so this here has to be clean. Right? It's got to be a well-oiled machine. And the other thing is, it's true, right? And provide a service. We buy into the easy sell. It's like you get a personal trainer, if I get a personal trainer, I'm going to have that rock star body. It's going to be awesome. And I'm buying that tomorrow. But you still have to do the workouts. You still have to eat clean. You still have to do the heavy lifting to get talk. It's exactly the same principle when you get sold a particular product or a service by any vendor that says, we can make your business awesome. Okay, well, do you actually understand what's on the milk first? Because if what's under the wood and ready for your awesome thing, it's just not going to function the way we would expect. And that's why so many of those my organizations for, because they focus on just the scale, they focus on the wins, and over time their organizations get so complex that they forget that they have to be able to make it a clear goal. So you don't have to do this necessarily tonight. But this was the purpose of me showing you what's underneath there. The things that you have to consider is the unsexy truth. And if people aren't showing you this, you've got no hope they are complete new things in the way that you deserve offend in the whole the whole waste to them. So considering that now, going back to reevaluating your change, is your change still the thing you have to do and in the next 40 months? Does it fit with one of these things? It's not some vague fluck and it's something harming that you can go back tomorrow into your business and go, hey, Jenny, or hey, me, this is the thing that I'm going to be doing differently for the next 3 months. I'm going to implement it and make sure that these things are going to support harmony in this space so that I can have a much smoother service delivery experience. I'm not wasting time building a report and I'm doing a product because someone on the team. Has everybody got something solid? Hands on, but you got something solid. All right, go really, really important stuff. Also, what are you right now, if you can, amongst your tables, just on I've got post-it notes on the end of each table. Can you write down the sum on your total cost savings being implemented each of your changes? Wow, change, yeah, I have something, I mean, it was not easy work with place. It's not easy important, it turns into a big one, right? It's a big ship for one more business. It's more than just the money don't. Remember the allegation said before on the tariff that you need to be able to hear that as what experiences. Because this change doesn't just have to be with financially, it has to be also with the calling perspective. We've talked about productivity, we've talked about compliance and usage for some people, and there's something when green light and part of everyone compliant. This is new students safety, keeping people safe and psychosocially as well as visually. That's a really important one. Satisfaction, big for say customers coming back with more return. Is here to really retain the customer, yes, repeat ones and new ones, right? So that's a big one. It's a good one. Why would it be? Because we help stake him. Yeah. Luke, what is the grand total cost saving from tonight's effort?
Total number for a group of 70 business owners is $2.9 million. Yes, that's a lot. What's our target? Oh, no, everyone, 1 million. It's a 3/8 the target. That is just a lot of productivity. You'll see that just correct. Just from our target.
Awesome. I said the bar. I have no idea what the scale and multiple businesses are in here. But you know what? It's not so much about that because they're in business status. With rewind and finger. And any cost saving in mill business is valuable because then you can reinvest into things that are less studio and that most of you friendly, less premium customers. That has more than doubled my expectations tonight. And I'm really excited so I was going to show you how to do that because now that you've seen it, you can't unsing it. So the purpose of today was today's talk here. The purpose of today was to give you exceptional value you can implement straight away. So then anytime you're getting a change itch or feeling like we're going to miss out if we don't jump on next transformational change bandwagon, that you critically evaluate and make sure it's going to be worth the effort in investment. Because yes, every change costs you money. And even if you have to pay a little extra to get a little extra, at least you'll know what's worth to you. Now, we've only looked at that from a vision in the same in. Imagine that saving amplified for the number of years that you're in business. You're never going to have to make that challenge again. You'll be looking at new ones. So you've now been gifted a tool and a skill that most large-scale business owners and large-scale companies never, ever use. Insane money. Best leaders and teams do these things. Tonight, we put up a number of these things. It is about being adaptive, doing be met when you can impose them. And to do that, iteratively improve as you know. Do the regular servicing and business. Upgrade things from time to time. Meet people when they're at. Meet yourself where you're at. Be kind. You don't have to do everything all at once. Little changes can have a big impact on your recruitment tomorrow. So big round of applause for each of you because you started. Big more. Shut up.
Was the lesson really about prayer and choice?